In the far reaches of northern Canada and Alaska, gravel runways serve as a vital lifeline for the delivery and transport of equipment, supplies, people, and when necessary, critical medevac services. Midwest innovative surface preservation technology locks, binds, and preserves the vital finds in the runway surface. Here are some examples of successful semi-permanent runway applications that Midwest has produced going back over 18 years. The first gravel runway was treated in 2000 with an initial 1-40 application of EnviroClean. A separate maintenance application was applied in 2001. In 2004, the runway still maintained its as-constructed appearance. This northern Canada gravel runway was treated 2001 with an initial 1-40 application of EnviroClean. Here's the same runway in 2002 and again in 2007. The next scheduled maintenance application is now scheduled for 2018. This remote Canadian runway shows a pre-treated runway prior to the initial 1-40 application of EnviroClean that was applied in 2007. As you can see, the runway still maintains its solid, pavement-like surface over 11 years later when these photos were taken when the runway was treated in 2018. Even in these rugged northernmost areas of Canada and Alaska, these EK35 and EnviroClean treated runways continue to perform. Harry Cook, Northern Manager of the Alaska Airmen's Association's publication, The Transponder, writes that this runway is virtually equivalent to a paved surface. This gravel runway was initially treated in 2005 with the 1-30 application of EK35. Here's the same runway 4 years later in 2009. Images of this runway were taken in 2011, 1 year after a 1-40 application of EK35. Images of this runway were taken 1 year after a 1-40 application of EK35 in 2014. Here's a runway 2 years after an initial 1-40 application of EK35 in 2005. Here's a runway 1 year after initial 1-40 application of EK35 in 2012. The initial application on this runway was made in 2003 with an annual application in 2004, 2005, and 2006. Here's the same runway 11 years later in 2017 when the runway was treated with maintenance application of 1-40 of EK35. 2007, this runway was treated with an initial 1-40 application of EK35. Mike Coffey of the Alaska Department of Transportation said, "In the Yukon Valley of Nunamikwa, the product worked so well on the runway that skid marks were visible. It's a spectacular thing to see." Here's a runway 2 years after an initial 1-53 application of EK35 in 2007. Here's another runway 1 year after a 1-40 application of EK35 in 2007. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, or 18 years, EK35 and EnviroClean have continually proven to greatly extend the period of time before gravel runways need to be resurfaced. And, unlike temporary dust palliatives, Midwest semi-permanent pavement system, along with a full maintenance program, can maintain 90% dust reduction over the life of the runway while significantly reducing overall maintenance costs. Contact Midwest to learn more about the long-term cost-saving benefits that Midwest semi-permanent runway solutions can provide.